Starting to work into far northeastern parts of Bexar County. It's still in Comal County, the bulk of it at least, right around Bulverde, and it's right there where you see some of the purples and darker colors that we're likely seeing some larger hail with this storm. So let's zoom in a little bit closer. It's right over 281. So right around the Bulverde area, the city of Bulverde, that's where we're seeing the strongest part of this storm. It's also moving in towards Timberwood Park. And as we zoom in a little bit closer, FM 1863. So right there at the intersection of 281 and 1863, we're seeing likely severe weather, large hail, gusty winds with this. And we can switch over to the threats here and look at what the radar thinks we may be seeing. And it's probably going to show some rather large hail. It's showing 3-inch plus. I don't know if it's that large. I think it's probably overdoing it a little bit, but at least quarter size, if not a little bit bigger, maybe up to golf ball size hail. Again, if you're right there at FM 1863 and 281, it's likely where some of the larger hail is at the moment. Now, this is tracking out to the south and east at about 30 miles per hour. So it's picked up speed just a little bit. We'll switch it back over to radar. And you can see the outflow boundary out ahead of this. So this could kick up a few more storms, but it's also going to bring some gusty winds. It's right now right along 1604 and then moving south along 281. And this storm will continue to push again southeast at about 30 miles per hour or so. So let's put a track on it for you, and we're going to zoom out some. We'll pause it once again, put the track on here, and it's moving southeast, as we said, and we'll put it at about 30 miles per hour or so. So this would put it in Universal City at about 226, around Randolph at 228, Marion about 236. You see some of the other cities on there, but likely within the next half hour or so, northeast San Antonio, that northeastern quadrant. Now, the rest of San Antonio, we may not get anything out of this. It's going to scrape us to the north and east, it looks like, because the bulk of the rain is there. We'll see what happens with this outflow boundary. But again, if you're in the city of Bulverde, that's where the strongest of the storm is now. A ton of lightning strikes with this. And again, likely some hail, just based on the returns that we're seeing here. Likely a hail core right there on the Comal and Bexar County line, right near Timberwood Park, or at least just to the north and east of Timberwood Park, right along 281, is where the strongest part of this storm is at this hour. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to be live on the KSAT Weather app and on the KSAT app for you. If you want to follow us there, you can do so on your devices. And we're going to switch over to that if you're watching us here on TV. We'll get you the latest updates there. Otherwise, we're going to return you to programming. Again, join us on the KSAT Weather app or the KSAT app right now. All right, guys, as you just heard, we were live there on TV, but we're still watching these storms. If you're joining us now on the app, welcome. This is our appcast. This is where we track the storms for you digitally, so you can follow along with us on your devices, maybe online as well. And you can see the picture there as we look at live cam, these dark clouds starting to work in. So if you're watching us from San Antonio, you're probably asking, hey, where is this storm headed? Is it headed towards my house? Well, here's what I'll tell you. I'm going to zoom out now. Here's San Antonio. Here's this storm on the northeast side. Current track takes this off to the south and east. So the bulk of the weather is going to be on the northeast side of San Antonio. Most of San Antonio is going to miss out on this storm. Now, we'll see what happens. There is an outflow boundary here. This could create a few more storms, but at the moment, it's not doing that. It's just producing some gusty winds. So we're seeing that on the northwest side. But the main takeaway here is this, the strongest part of this storm, as I said earlier, is right over Bulverde, and you see where that darker color is here. That's likely a hail core. I would say quarter size hail, larger than that.
And I will say, Justin, just on top of that,
yes.
So we're looking at NWS chat here, and there is a National Weather Service meteorologist in the Bulverde area saying that frequent dime-sized hail increasing and pulsing up to quarter-sized hail, it has been found in that storm.
Okay, so we've got confirmation here of quarter-sized hail, and that's again, right there in that core at the Comal and Bexar County line. That's likely where the largest of the hail is at this hour as this storm moves southeast. And Mia, if you could for me, help me out here with we want to look 3D with this storm, and I want to show you how tall this storm is building and where we may see these hail cores and how they kind of evolve. And we'll put that on for you, and we'll show you that these storms are building pretty tall, and they're coming out of the north and west. We've been watching them as they build out of the hill country and work in this direction. And we'll put the 3D on here, and you can see how this hail core is evolving. And there likely is some hail building again, right over Boulevardy, but moving south and east at this point, moving into far northeastern parts of Bexar County. And yeah, that shows it well there. This is how these storms build and they grow. And then you see how it kind of extends out like that. That's your hail core up to about 30,000 feet. So that's how we know there is large hail within this storm. And we did, again, get confirmation of quarter-size hail with this particular cell. And other strong cells are out there, but this is the strongest one that we're looking at right now. We'll put the ETA on there. So places like Garden Ridge, which is about 7 miles to the south and east, you have it there at about 222. That's when the hail will reach you. So if you're in Garden Ridge, you want to go ahead and put those cars in the garage. You don't have much time, but you have a little bit of time to go ahead and do that. You have a lot of lightning, obviously, with this storm. And we'll switch it back here to just a regular radar view. And Timberwood Park, you're starting to see some of this storm now. The threat is just the heaviest of the hail is just off to your east, but you are getting some heavier rain there and some lightning strikes in. Probably some pretty heavy rain out of that too. Let's zoom out and I'll show you that these storms have been tracking through the hill country most of the afternoon. And the big question always was, will this affect San Antonio? And just because of the trajectory of the way the flow is moving, we think that most of this is going to miss San Antonio to the north and east. That's not to say places like, as we said, Randolph Air Force Base, Universal City, Selma, Schertz, those areas certainly could see some rain out of this. And there's another look at live cam. You can see the dark skies and the clouds in the distance. So it looks pretty ominous here in town. But again, we're just going to be on the edge of things. Garden Ridge, this cell is just starting to move in there. And I think Selma and Schertz, New Braunfels too. We certainly don't want to leave you out, although the heaviest of this quarter looks like it may move just to your west. It's right there between 1604 and New Braunfels where I think we're going to get the heaviest of this storm. And you see the outflow boundary right there that is worked through now parts of northern San Antonio. So once this outflow boundary kind of passes by, the threat of severe weather tends to come down a little bit, at least to the west of this storm. So we'll zoom back out one more time, and I want to show you kind of the bigger picture here. We've got this cluster of storms, which extends basically from Austin down into Comal County and extreme northeastern parts of San Antonio. It started up here around Fredericksburg, and it's made its way down to the south and east, again, moving at about 30 miles per hour. And we'll take off the warning here and take off some of the lightning, get you a little better view of the storms themselves. And we still have that core. It's still there, and it's moved into northeastern parts of Bexar County now, just to the east of Timberwood Park, just east of 281. Let's get you some neighborhoods. Johnson High School is right there, so this core is just to your north, And we'll zoom in. And this is neighborhoods here, right around the Boulevardy area. And let's see if we can get any street names here. Let's see, what do we got? Man, that writing is small. So Larn Michelle Road, it looks like. Not familiar with that one. Riata Ridge, and you get up here near Smithson Ridge. So these are some of the neighborhood roads where that core is moving over top of you right now. And it, again, will continue to track eventually into Guadalupe County. I mean, this is the far northeastern part of Bexar County here that's getting hit. Boulevardy, the threat is starting to wind down for you. You had the hail, now things, still some heavy rain, but it's starting to quiet down a little bit. So the threat is passing you by. And that is the case for those along 281. Mia, what you got?
So we do have some KSAT Connect photos as well, whenever you were ready for that, Justin.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull them up.
Let me go ahead and get that stacked up here
Sure.
for you, and then we can go through some of those as well.
And by the way, there's Highway 46. Yeah, you're still getting some heavy rain there, but the severe weather threat is passing you by. That's the case right along 281. Spring Branch threat has passed you by as well. Canyon Lake, you're on the back edge of this. Startsville, same story. But if you're along 35, I'd say Green, New Braunfels, over to Schertz, those are areas that are next in line to get some of this very heavy rain. And we'll take a look at some of those pictures here in just a second.
Yep, absolutely. Getting this connected. Got a lot of photos of just a lot of dark skies, of course, looking northeastern part of Bexar County. So we'll get this connected for you real quick, and then we'll pop that up, Justin.
Perfect. Yeah, let's look at this core one more time. Again, far northeastern part of Bexar County. And what we've noticed today is it pulses up and pulses down. So we've had moments where we've had some probably fairly large hail, and then it pulses down a little bit, and maybe just some small hail. But if you're at Johnson High School, You're noticing that dark cloud just to your north. You're getting some rain now, but that core is just off to your north and east. Again, Timberwood Park, rain's coming down. You're just getting clipped by this. It's not going to last very long, but still getting some heavy rain there. And we're getting a ton of lightning strikes out of this too. We should mention that. There's going to be a lot of electricity with these storms. There could be some power outages here and there, but the bulk of San Antonio, again, not seeing it. You're seeing the dark clouds, but you're not seeing the rain. And we may just miss out on this. The airport there, we may not get any measurable rain from this storm just based on its current trajectory. Let's zoom in on Garden Ridge because that storm is starting to affect you there. And we'll get some roadways. There's New Caverns Road right there, and that's where the rain is really starting to pick up. And we're starting to see probably that heavier rain move in from the north and west. And there may even be some small hail mixed in there that will work its way into Garden Ridge probably here within the next, I'd say 5 to 10 minutes if you're watching us from there. And Selma, as we mentioned, you're right there next in line to really kind of see the core of this storm. And we'll put a track on it once again. We'll get you some more times. And we'll put it right where that heaviest rain and where that potential hail is. And we'll put it out to about 20, 25 miles per hour, 28. Yeah, 25 to 30 probably. So Shirts, 235. Again, Garden Ridge, it's there. It's there. It's already affecting you. Marion, about 246. That's when you can expect some of this rain to move in. So over the next 30 minutes or so. And the picture, we haven't any luck with the pictures?
We're getting those connected right now.
Yeah,
it's being a little slow with us today.
Wi-Fi in here. It's always fun. Okay, so let's look at the big picture here.
Golf ball size hail reported 1.75 inches.
Okay.
281, yeah, 281 in 1863.
Yeah, that tracks. That's right where that we were talking about earlier, where that core was. By the way, meteorologist Adam Caskey here with us too, as we have our overlapping shifts, but we're always here for you with these storms, and that's what we love to do. We love to go on the apps, let you know what's going on. We can go live on your devices, and we'll be here with you as long as these storms are here. But that core has sort of pulsed back down a little bit. It was right there over Bulverde where they were just talking about the larger hail. But now it's pulsing back down. That doesn't mean there's not any hail in here, but it's probably not as large as it once was. And this is going to cross over into Guadalupe County here very shortly. And so those, again, around Garden Ridge, Shirts, even Seguin. Now it's going to take a little more longer for this to make it to Seguin. And this part of the storm does appear to be weakening a little bit, but you will likely get some rain out of this. And then there's the outflow boundary that's moving through San Antonio. And again, I know the question everyone is having at this point is, will we get rain here in San Antonio? The short answer to that is probably not, because the storm is just going to scrape us to the north and east. It's our northeastern communities here, just north and east of San Antonio that likely get the rain out of it. But the rest of San Antonio at this point looks like it'll stay dry. It's just the way it goes with this line of storms. And as far as the lightning goes, we can put the lightning tracker on there. This is fairly electrical, 232 strikes. There could be some minor power outages here and there, although we don't have any reports of anything like that. And these storms, by the way, extend all the way up into northeast Texas. There's a little piece of energy coming through in the northwest flow aloft, and it's helping to kick off this activity. And a lot of times when we get flow out of the northwest and we get these storms moving in, they can sometimes be strong to severe, and that's exactly what we've dealt with today. So let's take another look at the heaviest part of the storm, see if we can get an update here on where it's moved. And this is the time lapse here, and you can see again it's pulsed down. It was right there over Bulverde where the hail was probably really large, and now as it moves towards Garden Ridge, weakening ever so slightly. And the heavier rain has moved into Garden Ridge. Now we're starting to get the radar's starting to get a little distorted there because we're getting closer to the actual radar itself. But the heavy core is right there on the Bexar County line, right there. And where we see some of those black cores, I would imagine there's still some hail coming down, and that's just north of Evans Road. So there's Johnson High School right there. Just to the east of that, that's where the storms are at their heaviest. And we can also look at rainfall rates, which is always a good thing to look at. Rain's the other big part of this, right? We looked at the drought monitor today. Looked a lot better. We're doing better and better. every time we see that drought monitor. So this is look at the rainfall rates at its heaviest, as you might imagine, underneath that core, and we're seeing rainfall rates of 7.4 inches per hour, meaning that you could pick up a quick inch out of this. Obviously, it's not going to sit there for an hour, so you're not going to get 7 inches, but a quick inch of rain entirely possible with some of these heavier storms, and it is going to be blinding rain. So any travel up here, be prepared to use the windshield wipers at a very rapid rate. We'll switch it back to radar now. And yes, this is now starting to build a little bit closer to Shirts. See right there along I-35. So I know we have people traveling along I-35. Any chance we can get TransGuide? I know Jeff's working back there in the control booth. We could get TransGuide there along 35 and see what we're seeing. I appreciate that, man. He's quick. That's 35, obviously downtown, but as we get 35 maybe up here towards New Braunfels, you're going to be seeing some wet roads, and we may not be able to get that TransGuide shot, but this is giving us a good look at those dark skies out there. This, yeah, 35 at Walsham, and you're looking at that saying, man, that looks mean. Yeah, if you're traveling in that direction, then you're traveling right into the storm, and you may run into some of this heavier rain. Now it's going to be past 1604, but that's you're looking right into that core of that storm. And there's the outflow boundary that continues to work through San Antonio. Does look like we're getting a little bit of new development, and we should point this out. Right there behind the outflow boundary in Stone Oak, seeing some rain starting to take shape there. We'll see if this holds together. So there's Stone Oak there, northern parts of Stone Oak, getting some rain. Now this is not as strong as that other cell, but it may be starting to get going here and strengthen a little bit with this outflow boundary, which can sometimes kick up some storms. So again, San Antonio, most of us dry at the moment. We'll see what this outflow boundary does and see if it kicks up any rain. Okay, so we're looking at airport cam here. And look at the dark skies. You can see there off in the distance. Nice full shot there. And yeah, that looks mean, right? You can see kind of the lower levels there. It's probably some dust getting kicked up with those gusty winds. If you look, well, I can't point it out there, but you see the lower levels there right above the buildings. Probably getting some dust kicked up with these stronger winds. And again, gusts to 60 miles per hour are entirely possible with this cell. And also, again, some hail along with everything else and the heavy rain. You guys got any more reports coming in?
Just seeing even on radar signature as well. We do have some KSAT Connect photos. It's starting to look like that hail core is once again doing that upward pulsing trend that we've been seeing today. But here's a couple KSAT Connect photos. Spring Branch, Highway 46. You've got that rain-cooled air that's coming out of the storm, and it's creating those clouds. Kind of you can see that crossing over the highway. Another shot here, 281 at Marshall. Here's some Amatis clouds out in Seguin. So these just indicate turbulent skies, sinking air away from the base of where we're seeing all the rain, and they can create these little cotton ball shapes kind of dropping out of the sky.
And it's indicative of strength. You know that this storm was strong if you got Amatis clouds.
Exactly. We've got just some more rain-cooled air shots of these clouds moving in, storm in the distance. But even as you've been saying, as we've been looking at TransGuide, a lot of folks commenting on the extremely dark skies out there in the distance.
For sure. And the darkness, I know it looks ominous. I know it does. But we haven't seen anything tornadic or anything like this. This is going to be mostly hail and heavy winds. So let's switch back over to the radar. And if we can, and we'll take a look at that hail core for you.
And it does look like we have a new warning that just came out. This is going to include more of Bexar County. So we're talking the eastern portions of Bexar County. They did increase the potential hail size on this as well. But that's what we're going to need to monitor. This is moving. This one's going to go through 3:15 p.m. 60 mile per hour wind gusts possible, as well as hail up to 1.75 inches.
Okay. Yeah, and that's based off that report, I'm sure, there in Boulevardy that showed some of the larger hail. Let's zoom in again on the radar if we can. Let's see. Did we? Oh, sorry. Nope, you're good. Jumped on us a little bit. We'll switch back, and we'll zoom in on the hail core one more time, and then we'll do a little bit of a handoff here. I know Adam is in studio, and he'll take over here in a second. But I want to show you that that's the bigger hail core. It's starting to pulse up again, so we're likely seeing some of that larger hail. Again, probably upwards of, well, larger than quarter, I would say maybe up to golf ball size hail. So we've got to be really careful here in Garden Ridge. That core is not quite there, but it is on your doorstep. So Garden Ridge.
Selma.
And Selma, yeah, same story. Live Oak, Schertz, Randolph Air Force Base, all these areas here. Be prepared for some larger hail as this cell moves through. And that cell there around Stone Oaks, 281, 1604, looks like it's starting to strengthen a little bit as well. And then we've got the outflow boundary moving through at the airport. So winds are going to pick up around the city. It does not mean we're going to see storms here, but it's this core we're most concerned about here. In far northeastern Bexar County, kind of where Comal County, Guadalupe County, and Bexar County kind of all come together here. This is where the strongest of the rain is right now. And we can actually
60 mile per hour gusts in there too.
Yeah, 60 mile per hour wind gusts, also a problem. And we'll zoom in on some of the streets here so we can get you some neighborhoods and some street names here. If you're watching us, again, on your devices, joining us on the KSAT Weather app, we do appreciate it. See Rattler Circle there. This is just to the north of Evans Road. So actually right along Evans Road, we're seeing a pretty good core there. And that's just north of 1604. So 1604 on the northeast side, you are getting some heavy rain, but the hail core is just to the north of you. But they're around Nacogdoches Road and I-35, Bracken. These are all areas that will likely get some hail here very, very soon. Adam, did you want to step in here? Okay, I'm going to pass this off to Adam Caskey. Again, we're live on the KSAT Weather app and the KSAT app. This is how we can cover severe weather for you if you're at home, if you're on your devices. And we'll likely see this severe weather hanging around a little bit longer, Adam.
Yeah, we've got looks like another hour or so left of this for parts of our area. And then as it tracks to the southeast, of course, there's a little more time left in it. So what we're watching most closely is this purple and black area that's approaching Garden Ridge. This is the hail. Bracken, it's moving in right now. Garden Ridge it is as well. Then it's going to be Selma, Live Oak, Madison High School. You may get clipped by this large hail and everybody around Madison High School. Then, of course, it's going to be moving toward Randolph Air Force Base, Converse area, basically right along 1604 and soon to cross over I-35. I mean, we're talking minutes away. The largest hail is just minutes away from I-35, under 10 minutes.
Quick note. Adam,
Quick note.
Coming at 2:20, so in about 2 minutes, we're going to be live on TV as well.
Okay, good to know. I'll have to get Justin's earpiece when he's done. And if you don't mind grabbing my earpiece over there, that'd be good. Thank you. Okay, and what's also notable is this outflow boundary pushing southward. This is the wind that the puff of air that these thunderstorms basically exhale out ahead of them. That puff of cool wind is kicking up some new storms right now in Stone Oak. Right now, not severe. So if you're watching in Stone Oak, you have the heavy rain, some lightning and thunder, and a dark sky. But again, nothing severe in the Stone Oak area. The most severe part of this storm is right here in Garden Ridge. Okay, I've got my earpiece on, but I'm not hearing anything, so just letting you know. Okay. You can talk to me, Johnny. We're just on the app. You can.
We're going to cut in 44 seconds.
Okay, in 44 seconds. Got it. So this is our new warning that we're watching. This one right here is the severe thunderstorm warning. That's until 3:15 p.m. And we still have a warning out for this part of the storm, but I would venture to say that New Braunfels, you're not really under a really threat of much severe weather right now. Most of the severe threat is farther to the south of New Braunfels. Hello, everybody. Adam Caskey, Justin Horn, Mia Montgomery here, tracking a new severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern and eastern Bexar County, not to mention parts of Comal and Guadalupe counties. And what we're watching and paying the most attention to is this area that's purple and black near Garden Ridge, headed towards Selma, headed towards Schertz, headed toward Converse, and maybe even clipping Marion and, of course, Garden Ridge on its track to the southeast. This is the hail portion of the thunderstorm. And this storm has a history of hail that's 1 inch in diameter or even larger. Some golf ball size hail actually reported within this thunderstorm. So this is the hail part of it. It's headed to the southeast at about 25 miles per hour. We'll time out just the hail part, but keep in mind, this could also have some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Now I'm gonna have to get a different view for you here as I time it out. Let me get this different view. All right, so just the hail portion headed to the southeast. Even if you're not within this warned area, the worst part of the storm, making it to Schertz at 236, Randolph Air Force Base at 238, Steele High School at 240, New Berlin at 304. That's assuming it stays on its current track, trajectory, and even strength. Lavernia at 3:16 p.m. This severe thunderstorm could pack some wind gusts in the northeast side of town, crossing over I-35 up to 60 miles per hour. You look at this, a different view of it, draw a new 3D section, and it gives us a different vantage point of the storm vertically. And you see how tall it's reaching up into the sky. You just filter out some of the other colors, and the purple, that's the hail. That's the hail suspended in the cloud, now headed towards Selma, Live Oak, Schertz, and Converse. We'll be live on the KSAT Weather Authority app tracking this for you.
We're not broadcasting now.
Okay, yeah, there's nothing in my ear, so Okay, so now that we're 3D with this, let's take a look at just the hail. I like this feature because it filters out everything else. It filters out the rain, and it focuses just on the hail. And the reason we know that is because hail appears larger to the radar than rain would. And the larger the hail, the darker the purple and even the black the radar is going to give us. So let's fly right into it here. And you notice how we've got the hail that's suspended up into the sky, telling us that it's circulating around, and sometimes a little bit of it gets spit out off to the side. But a lot of this is just circulating up and down within the thunderstorm here. And flying around it, you'll see its structure, and you see how suspended that hail is within this thunderstorm. And it's right along 1604, about to cross over I-35. So we go top down through the hail. We'll fly right through the hail in the thunderstorm, and it's taking us right into Selma. And we've got the racetrack here, the horse racing track it's headed right into in Selma, crossing over I-35. All that purple on the screen, and the reason it's looking cloudy is because we're going right through it and right in the middle of it. That's the hail. We're going to time out just the hail portion of this storm for some of you that are downstream of what's going to come, the hail. And I want to pop up, let's give you an ETA here. This is moving to the south, and it's going to make it to I-10 by 2:44 p.m. So
I want to go back on the broadcast.
Okay.
So we're going to give you a count to go back live.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything through the ear, so.
I'm not sure why.
Will you make sure your IFB is weather?
It is working.
Weather,
Is it on?
low bat.
Low battery.
All right, while you do that, I can go through some KSAT Connect photos, or
Okay.
you want to, or keep going. Okay.
No, that's fine. Yeah, let's stay right here with the hail. And once the hail passes, no, actually, let's go to KSAT Connect and show just the hail that has hit. How about that? Just the hail that has hit us. And okay, they switched over.
Yep.
There we go. You can talk over that.
Sure did. Okay,
Oh,
so this I was out in the Bulverde area. P to quarter size hail as that storm was pulsing. So that's been the theme with the storms that we've seen. You know, we'll see a pulse up in intensity of this activity, and then, yeah, well, we might have some P to dime size hail that can then quickly pulse up to hailstones closer to about quarter size. And by the way, these photos are awesome with the actual coin in there. It gives us a really good look at just how large those hailstones have been able to grow. This is another one. This was out in the Bulverde area as well, I believe. hail is done. These are the biggest left. That's quarter to even quarter and a half, I would say, an inch and a half size hail there. Even some golf ball size hail was reported. Wortham Oaks area, that's north of 1604 there on the far northeast side, east of 281. So thank you all for these KSAT Connect photos. Make sure we're taking them safely, but we appreciate it to get a really good ground truth of what is going on with these thunderstorms as well. So we'll continue looking at all of these KSAT Connect photos. Adam, I'll let you know if we get any more in.
All right, but that's the ground truth right there of this hail core that just pulsed up. And keep in mind, this is actually very close to the radar. Yes, I hear you through the IFB. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go live here in a bit. Okay, got it. This is very close to the radar, so it actually doesn't give us the top view of this thunderstorm. It gets cut off a little bit. It gets sliced off.
3, 2, 1, on the air.
Hello again, Adam Caskey here with Justin Horn, Mia Montgomery, and all of our crew behind the scenes at the KSAT 12 Weather Authority Weather Center. And we do have a severe thunderstorm with large hail. Golf ball size hail has already been seen and reported within this thunderstorm. And that's what I'm isolating here on our 3D view is the purple. The purple is basically, we're getting rid of everything else. We're not looking at any of the rain, and we're just focusing on the primary damaging part of this storm, which is the large hail. This could have wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Now, flying right into the hail, it's crossing over I-35. It's overhanging the storm a little bit, but it's moving through Selma. You've got the racetrack there. I-35, it's crossing over I-35, headed to the southeast, and it's about to move into Schertz, Converse, of course, Randolph Air Force Base in the Converse area, right along 1604. I'm going to straighten out the view just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about and where exactly I'm talking about, and put the warnings up. So if you're just joining us right now, this is the one severe thunderstorm warning. It's on the northeast side of San Antonio. Everybody on the east side, the northeast side of Bexar County, and even far western Guadalupe County, far west of Seguin, stay inside and just let this pass. Unfortunately, there is a large hail core with it. And I'm going to time out this storm. Now, we're going to see some communities that aren't listed in the severe thunderstorm warning, but nonetheless, I'm going to put up some of the timing here. So this is the strongest part of the storm, headed to the southeast at 25 miles per hour. That means that part of the storm is going to make it to New Berlin at 255. Carpenter at 258, Lavernia at 306. Lavernia, you are within the warning, but then Stockdale, right now you're not in the warning. It's still too far away yet for you to be in a severe thunderstorm warning, but Stockdale, whatever's left of this storm is going to make it by 3:36 p.m. A lot of lightning with it, and what's also very notable is the outflow boundary shown right here. This is the gust of wind that the thunderstorm pushes out, and it kicks up dust, sand, leaves, insects especially it kicks up. And so the radar can actually detect that line basically just by luck of little things being kicked up by the wind. And that's why it can see it. But of note, this outflow boundary is starting new thunderstorms, such as what we have here in Stone Oak. Notice how as the outflow boundary hit, behind it, boom, a fresh thunderstorm popped up. Heavy rainfall in Stone Oak, and it does look like maybe a little bit of small hail starting to develop there. But what we're focusing on right now, and Mia, do you have something?
I have two reports for you, Adam. Near Timberwood Park, just near TPC Parkway and the golf course out that way, reports of ping pong ball size hail, and we have a report of quarter-sized hail at Rolling Meadows Elementary School in Selma.
Okay, so that's so TPC, that would be that new part of the storm that just popped up in Stone Oak, and that would be ping pong ball. So that outflow boundary did kick up a new hail core, and this is very close to the radar site. That's why you see this slice here. That's why it's completely cut off. Here, I'll get rid of that jargon on the screen. That's why it's cut off in a funny way, because the radar beam goes out like this. So the closer you are to the radar site, the more your storm gets cut off and missed. There is basically an ideal range to be from a radar, and that's basically city of San Antonio, but this is farther to the northeast. Anyway, that aside, let's cut out all the clutter and just focus on the hail again. We'll focus just on the hail and look at, basically get rid of all the rain and everything else within this storm. And the purple is the hail that's both suspended in this storm, but also falling. Right now, we've got golf ball size hail from Live Oak to Selma moving into Schertz. I mean, if you're in Schertz, it's too late. Can't go out and try to cover your car or, put some padding on it. It's too late right now. This is moving in, and you're in the thick of it with the heavy rain and, of course, a lot of lightning. The hail is stretching high into the sky. The higher it stretches, typically the larger it can get. But this purple area, that is just the hail. And we can get right into it here and see exactly where it's falling. Right along I-35. Selma, you see right here, Live Oak. You have the big IKEA, RBFCU. You got Rolling Oaks Mall, and this is where this is all hitting and headed to the southeast, basically right paralleling 1604. But this is the strongest part of the storm in terms of what can cause the most damage at the moment, and that's the hail. Now, there could also be some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour within this storm. Keep that in mind. Now, Mia mentioned that, near TPC Parkway and 281 in Stone Oak, we had some ping pong ball size hail. Well, it looks like the hail is now suspended up within the storm here in the Stone Oak area. And that's this purple that's near my hand, this purple blob right here. That's the hail that looks mostly suspended into the storm. Once we see it connect downward, that's a clear indication that the hail would then be hitting the ground. But right now, it doesn't look like it's hitting the ground there near Johnson High School or Encino Rio and whatnot. Here, it is hitting the ground. And this is I-35, 1604. And I'm going to come out a little bit wider to just show you that this is the only part of our area. We've got these two pockets of hail, and that's it. So if you're watching from the west side, you're in the clear. You're fine. You don't have anything severe. You can see the storm off into the distance, but that's it. But this is the hail, and I tell you what, I'm going to give you an ETA just on the hail here. Weather Authority radar, just on the hail for St. Hedwig. Okay, so we have that hail core right there. Let's say St. Hedwig, the hail portion of this storm, making it to you at 3 p.m. So 3 p.m., St. Hedwig, that's when you'll get this portion of the storm that has the hail and the potentially damaging, a history of damaging sized hail.
And whenever you're ready for it, Adam, we have gotten some really great videos of what this storm has been capable of producing as it was kind of moving through closer to the Wortham Oaks area off Evans Road. So just let me know when you're ready for that, and I'm happy to pop that up for you.
Yeah, we will do that in just a moment. Thank you. But I want to show you the motion of this storm, first of all, and give you a wider view. So if you're watching basically west of 281, your threat has passed now if you're west of 281. But it did smash Bulverde with some large hail up to golf ball size, and now it's crossing over I-35 and affecting 1604 on the northeast side of town. And these storms, they pulse up and they pulse down. To give you an example of it, watch how these purples, let me get rid of the lightning. The purples and the blacks come and go, come and go. Looks like it's pulsing down a little bit right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's overall weakening. We often see them pulse up, pulse down, and pulse back up and pulse back down. So this just going through basically a cycle. A good way to represent that, and we'll get to another timeline here for you in a moment, but a good way to represent that is in our 3D view on Weather Authority radar. And I'm going to draw a big area here. We're going to come in a little bit tighter, point it up like this, just go to the hail, get rid of everything else on the screen, and we'll animate it. And when you put it in motion, this really tells the tale just over the past hour. This is a 1 hour lapse. We're looking north right now. This is north on the top of your screen. And look how it really pulsed up over Bulverde. We got that little pulse from the extra storm near Stone Oak. And check that out. This is just the hail being detected on Weather Authority radar. But notice how much taller it was up in the storm when it was dropping golf ball size hail that we have confirmation of. But this just shows you how they pulse up. They dump the hail, they pulse down, then they can pulse back up again. So these are the trends that we're watching within these storms. And another thing we're watching is the outflow boundary that's headed through San Antonio. So just because you don't have any storms, say downtown, you see this green line, this could quickly initiate new storms. That green line, that's the outflow boundary that's headed southward. The outflow basically just, well, it's like what it's called, outflow, just flows out of the storms and it kicks out ahead of it. But these can act as little mini wedges that then create lift and kickstart new thunderstorms. And that's what we saw in the Stone Oak area, which did end up dropping ping pong ball sized hail near TPC Parkway. Okay, the heaviest of the rain headed toward New Berlin right now. Zool, it's moving in. Some 60-mile-per-hour gusts possible. St. Hedwig, you have some lightning strikes out ahead of it. The rain hasn't started in St. Hedwig, but it's on the way. As for the back edge of this storm, I'm going to give you a timeline. So in Zool, it's just starting right now. So let's say Zool, it's just starting. The back edge of it right here, this back edge, won't make it to Zool until 3:02 p.m. So we're talking, once this starts, just a good 30 minutes. You have to wait to let it pass. A good 30 minutes and then it'll pass. But those 30 minutes are going to be loud and even a little rumbly as well. Some of those lightning strikes. If you see the positive lightning strikes, we've had 7 of 98. Those positive lightning strikes are the ones that really, really rattle, the ones that you feel in your chest. And those are the strongest lightning strikes that actually have a positive charge. We had a lot of those the other night, last Friday night. I think we all remember that and how it woke us up. Okay, let's get to the confirmed hail and some of the pictures that we got in. Then we'll get back to tracking this. But this is the ground truth and what this storm has a history of.
Exactly. So this is the Wortham Oaks off Evans Road area. For those that might not be familiar, it's in between Live Oak and Bulverde, near 1604 on the far northeast side. And just looking at this video, you can see zooming in there, all different sizes of hailstones, but embedded within those, yes, some hailstones that look to be at least upwards of about a quarter. So thank you so much, Mark, sending this in to KSAT Connect there as well. I'm going to load up a couple. I had to look at that one through a different browser, but I'll load up a couple more for you, Adam, here in just a bit.
Yes, sounds good. Another trend we watch in these storms is the amount of lightning, the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Now, keep in mind, there's lightning within the storm. You have 3 types of lightning. You've got the cloud-to-cloud, cloud-to-ground, and then ground-to-cloud. Some of you may have seen some video from last Friday night. It looked like some ground-to-cloud lightning that kind of looked like a big oak tree up in the sky with the way that the bolts spread around. Anyway, we look for a trend in how much lightning there is. And notice when this storm was, I'd almost say at its strongest around Bulverde, there was a lot more lightning, higher concentration than what it has right now. This can change though. This fluctuates as they go through their cycles. These storms go through their cycles of pulsing up and then weakening a little bit and then pulsing again. But that's just one of those indications of one of the elements that we look at. I want to look closely here at this edge, this little appendage of the storm that has a history of ping pong ball size lightning. So Live Oak, you just got hit by a hail core. Now this separate section of the storm that popped up because of the outflow boundary, the new little mini front that kicks up new storms, this dropped ping pong ball size hail in Stone Oak area, TPC Parkway. And this is moving toward Madison High School. We got Evans Road here. This is east of Bulverde Road. Oh, it just updated. So we're on 1604. There we go. We're on 1604, northeast side of town. Evans Road running right here. And Live Oak, you just got hit by hail. And unfortunately, looks like you got this other batch of hail. It's going to be hitting Live Oak at 2:53 p.m. So Rolling Oaks Mall, everybody in that area, you just got hit by hail, and it looks like you've got one more little hail core right here that's moving in. Not many developments here where it's actually located at the moment. This purple is what we're watching. But nonetheless, it is headed to areas that just saw some large hail. And then we also have the hail that we previously tracking that's moving through Schertz, just northeast even of Randolph Air Force Base, south of Cibolo, headed into Zool area. Just Zool's right here. So this is I-10, that's I-10 and 1604. And it's going to be affecting traffic, of course, along I-10, not just because of the heavy rainfall, but then you add to it some pockets of hail that could be, I'd say now probably closer to an inch in diameter. But keep in mind, this thunderstorm has a history of 1.5 inch diameter hail that it has produced. So that's still the potential within the storm, is 1.5 inch diameter, but I'd say right now, looking at it, it's probably closer to 1 inch diameter. That's good news for folks in Zool. Widening out the view because this outflow boundary, I don't trust it, especially with all the sunshine that we've had today. The daytime heating, the warming of our air, and some instability that we have, that daytime heating just adds to the instability that this could easily kickstart new thunderstorms on the west side of town, downtown as well, and we have to watch for development there. But right now, the only warning is currently around 1604, I-35, then 1604 all the way down toward Elmendorf. Lavernia, you're included, St. Hedwig, Adkins, Lone Oak, New Berlin. Now, those of you in Lone Oak, you need to stay inside. Windcrest, you're within the warning. So stay inside. Don't be venturing out right now. Just let this pass. But it does look like this is just scraping east of you in Windcrest. Kirby, this is just scraping east of you. I mean, we're talking by the stratification of the storm at the moment, which can change. Remember, these can develop westward. But right now, Kirby, this is just, I mean, we're talking 5.5 miles to the northeast of you. So Kirby, it's only 5 miles away. China Grove, I think the worst of it'll pass east of you. So you're still within the warned area because we can see development your way. But right now, at least, your prospects are a little bit better. Whereas Zool, it's just starting. New Berlin, it's just starting. And Lavernia, it's not very far away. So I'm going to give you some new times on this main part of the storm that we've been watching. The main part, let's see, right there. That's going to make it to Stockdale by 3:28. Stockdale 3:28. You're not in the warning right now, Stockdale, and this may not be as strong, but there's going to be something left of this, whether it pulses up or it stays at its current strength. Stockdale at 3:28, and you see a bunch of other cities listed here. Lavernia at 3:02. So Lavernia, it's right on your doorstep, just a handful of miles away from Lavernia. 3:02 p.m. is when that's going to make it there. Go back to our 3D view because now we've had some time to get some new scans in, and that's going to help us analyze. I don't see as much hail with this right now. Doesn't mean it's not going to be dropping. Still some 1 inch diameter hail within it, but I'm just not seeing as much now as we saw before. I'm going to draw us a whole new box for this so we have a fresh start, and then just go over to the hail. Get rid of everything else on the map. And maybe we'll see a little bit purple suspended when we tip it upwards. Yeah, you see that one little bit? That's headed into Live Oak. That's one little bit of hail, probably 1 inch diameter, suspended up within the storm. That's headed toward Live Oaks. That's suspended. See how it's not making contact with the ground quite yet? But there's probably some hail hitting the ground, just not the largest of the hail within there. So that's a positive sign with this storm right now. At least it's a promising sign that we're not seeing some of the largest. Now, this is a good example of, remember, I was talking earlier how this storm is pretty close to the radar site, so that actually you don't want to be right next to the radar site if you want to measure a thunderstorm. You want the thunderstorm to be a good distance away, about 1,000 miles or so, 500 miles, right? Maybe, no, not 1,000. What am I thinking? Sorry, no, like 50 miles, not even 25, 50 miles away. 1,000 miles, no, that's way out of the range. Mia's keeling over there. Anyway, but look at the stadium effect that you get. This is not like the stadium effect that we talk about when it comes to hurricane hunters, but due to the way the radar works, the beam is like a wedge on its side that just goes out like that. And so when you're really close to the radar, a storm here, the beam cuts under it and then gets higher in the sky later, but it's going to cut under the tall thunderstorms. It's not as much of an issue in the winter when all the precipitation's lower in the sky, but it makes it difficult to get a good sample of the storm right over the radar and in those communities that are right next to the radar. Luckily, once you get into Bexar County, we're within the range where you get a slightly better view of these storms from the radar, which is in New Braunfels. The radar's in New Braunfels. Yes.
In from the National Weather Service, the warning will be canceled because the storm, as you've been mentioning, is on a pulsing downtrend.
Yes, it's on that trend now, so the warning is going to be canceled, so we'll be able to leave you here. We'll stay with us on the KSAT Weather Authority app because this could strengthen back up, or like we were talking about also, this could not just do that, but we could see fresh thunderstorms popping up right here through the center part of San Antonio and China Grove area. So we have to watch that outflow boundary, but luckily this severe thunderstorm weakening, the hail threat diminishing. We will be covering the latest on KSAT 12 News at 5. But Weather Authority radar not showing all the hail that we had before, and hopefully this storm continues its downward trend and just gives us some good rainfall that we could use around here. But speaking of rainfall, we'll also have the newest drought monitor on KSAT 12 News at 5. Again, we'll stay on this on the KSAT 12 Weather Authority app, and we'll see you there, and we'll see you at 5 and 6. And if anything strengthens again, we'll be back on air with you as well. Now, Mia, on the app, let's go over to some of the photos and whatnot. Are we off, Johnny?
Okay, yeah, so let's take a look at, so we've gotten a ton of photos and videos in, especially from the Selma area, Live Oak, stretching up to Bulverde. This is one video that just came in from Selma, and you can just see a ton of hail out there on the ground. So that's one. I'm going to exit this out so we can see some additional videos and photos that have come in. How about this? Century Oak Estates. This is over a quarter size, closer to golf ball size hail there.
Yeah, that's golf ball. Ooh, yeah.
Yep, so that's Century Oak Estates. Check out some more quarter size hail right here from Leslie Martinez. Thank you for sending that in as well. Oh, here's a video. This from
cool.
Out in Bulverde.
Yeah, these are always.
You can just see, she'll pan back over here in just a second. I mean, even there, you can just see the big splashes that those hailstones are creating there in that pool. And of course the wind too, blowing some of those hailstones around. You can see leaves coming down too.
It's always those backyard pools that really show you the impact.
For sure.
Of the size and quantity of the hail because of that splashing. So that's why, sorry to interrupt you earlier, but I was,
Right, absolutely.
See that, wow.
Yep, so that's from Bulverde there as well. Let me see what else we've got. So Evans, Green Mountain. Thank you for including these coins, by the way, in a lot of these photos. That's a big help when it comes to seeing the ground truth and measuring the size of these hailstones. So that's ping pong ball size, over a quarter there. Closing in on golf ball size there as well.
And also, please let us know your general location.
Exactly.
No, we don't. Hey, if you don't want to tell us your exact neighborhood, that's fine. Just, the nearest big intersection, or where, roughly, you could just say Stone Oak. You could say South Side. You could say near whatever high school, and that helps.
Absolutely. So golf ball size hail, Wortham Oaks there as well from Megan. That was one of the areas where we've been getting a lot of reports in.
That was 1604 and 35, Rolling
Yes.
Oaks, is that what you said? Okay.
Wortham Oaks. So that was,
Northern Oaks.
Yes.
Different, never mind.
The gazebo.
Let me see. I think it might be at the top here. There it is.
That's
Oh, yep. Damaged gazebo from some of the hail as well. Sorry to hear that, Mary.
Yeah, it looks like some holes in there, unfortunately. Huh?
Let's see. What else we got here? So, mixture of hail and some rain. So that's a big picture that we've been getting here on KSAT Connect with all of these photos and videos. Heavy downpours, mixture of pea to even dime-size hail, pulsing up to quarter and above at times. Universal City area too. And you've got some sunshine in the back, with just the nature of how this storm has moved in.
Look at the wind blowing sideways.
Yep.
And, unfortunately for those of you that got that big hail, you're that 30% we were talking about today just a small 30% slice of our area that gets the thunderstorms, and then an even smaller percentage that gets the large hail. It's unfortunate, but that's what we talk about when we say 20-30% chance. It's just that isolated part of San Antonio. San Antonio, it covers a lot of real estate, a lot of Bexar County, and that 30% this time was northeast side of town and parts of the east side.
Yep. And just some actual reports coming in from chat. Quarter-sized hail reported Universal City, Selma, a little bit larger than that, upwards of about $0.50. So we'll take a look. This is from the Garden Ridge area. I've got another video here outside. You can see the hailstones out there on the ground, still raining a little bit. After the worst of the storm moved through Garden Ridge up there on the northeast side, you can even see some of the hailstones out there in the mulch, in the landscaping. And again, got the backyard pool. Thankfully, not as big of splashes from these hailstones as the video that we were looking at in the Bulverde area, but still some pea to penny size hail, probably what we're looking at here in this video.
And keep in mind, the thunderstorm's still loud for you, for those of you in Selma and Schertz and Randolph area, part of Converse. But and even towards Zool and New Berlin, but it's not severe. It's just heavy rainfall, smaller sized hail possible, and some loud snap, crackle, pop. Actually, most of the stronger storm is basically Geronimo to Seguin to Kingsbury and northward headed toward Zool. Well, let's put that into motion. Yeah, head just south of Zool. Anyway, it's crossing over I-10. You see a lot more lightning up there, whereas the storm that caused the large hail is largely collapsing right now. But look at that outflow. Sorry, I can walk back over there.
I'm going to take a look at some of the wind speeds too that maybe
good call. When we step off like this and you just hear us kind of talking, it's usually we're just checking new things and monitoring and switching a few settings around too, because we often have to adjust our settings on our hand tracking system.
Yep. Earlier when I was looking at some of the wind speeds, New Braunfels had clocked in a wind gust of about 35 miles per hour. SA International right now about 26, so 25 to 30, same out there on the east side. But I'll take a look at Randolph and see what we got out there.
So we also have a new outflow boundary here from the storm in Seguin. So this green line, and I'll draw it for you so you really can see it. This green line, that's our outflow, and this part of it's headed to the southeast, and then the part over San Antonio is headed south. And if we have built up enough instability in San Antonio, we could see a new thunderstorm develop. Now, we've only seen one little section near Stone Oak thus far, but there's still that chance. If it were maybe 2 hours later in the day, after a little more heating, this outflow boundary may have been more efficient in generating thunderstorms. But these are those now casting situations where you don't know where these little boundaries are going to set up until you get storms to develop. So I know it would be fantastic for us to be able to say exactly here tomorrow afternoon and then thereafter, but you really have to wait and see where some of this activity pops up. And that's a situation with this outflow that's headed to the south and southeast, and it's maybe moving out ahead of it enough to where it undercuts that storm a bit, which would inhibit its strengthening. But this is good to see, this trend. I'll zoom really tight for you. I know you had the heavy rain. Selma, Schertz, Randolph, you had the heavy rain. Clemens High School, so you still have the heavy rain, and you had the hail, excuse me, but the hail threat has passed. So now you just have the rain. Actual rainfall with this. Let's check this out. Look at this. All right, 12-hour rainfall. Whenever you see green on the screen, it means a minimum of ½ inch of rain has accumulated. Dark greens is an inch. So look at the track, first of all, of the heavy rainfall, and you see where it dumped the most up in Gillespie County. That's good. That's part of our most drought-stricken part of south central Texas. But also Kendall County. Look at about about 33%, about a third of Kendall County actually got the rain, but where it did fall, Sisterdale and especially Candelia, it counted. I mean, that's an inch or more for some of the ranch land out there in particular. Even Spring Branch, down toward Bulverde, ½ inch to an inch there, crossing over 46. And then right along the Cibolo Creek, as it winds its way between Bexar and Comal counties, Garden Ridge area. This is an area, let's get right into Garden Ridge. So if you live in Garden Ridge, let's say Binesile Lane and Bat Cave Road, right there at that street, 0.9 inches of rain. That's the good news. I know you got the hail, but at least you got some good rain out of it. And it's still raining in this part of town around Selma and Schertz, but you look at it, and from the racetrack, what's the name of that track again? Retama Park. Thank you, Andrew. Sometimes it just, I drive by it all the time. Whatever. I've been there. It's fun to watch the horses, right? Anyway, sometimes they've had exotic animals racing too, like emus or something. No, they have, or like alpacas, alpaca races.
Alpacas?
Yeah, like random stuff. Anyway, I like that kind of stuff.
I'd watch that.
Right? I'd bet $5 on that, on the underdog. Clemens High School, 0.8 inches. So the severe weather is gone for now. That's the good thing. There still is that severe thunderstorm watch until 7 p.m. Don't get me started on these watches again. It's another way of saying, hey, guess what? Severe storms are possible, which we told you yesterday and all this morning and all this midday, and here we go. We had some severe storms pop up. That watch is until 7 p.m., but I do think the threat will probably be past us before 7 p.m. Anyway, this is a look at the rainfall totals. What else was I going to get at here? Oh, hail track. All right. Look at the hail track from this. There's a little bit of hail just northeast of Seguin in Guadalupe County. That's let's point that out. Basically a triangulated area from Geronimo to Seguin to Kingsbury, and within there, right along I-10, there's some small non-damaging sized hail. But this was the largest hail. This shows the track, the swath of the hail. And from Bulverde to Garden Ridge to Rolling Oaks Mall, this dark purple and that black and even gray color, that's the largest hail. And it shows you that swath of who got hit by some of the largest hail and just the history of this hail core. And let's put the history in motion. What do you say? Turning everything off. This is just over the past, this is an hour? Let's see. Yeah, just over the past hour. Notice how as the hail moved in from the hill country, it stopped right here after I-35. Stopped after I-35. And sometimes with severe storms, elevation can make a difference. For example, when I lived up in the Red River Valley of the North in North Dakota, the Gradual Valley, it's an old egg shit lake bed or whatever. It's very fertile soil, but that would change the LCL, the lifted condensation level of the atmosphere. So these storms would come rolling in, but then as the LCL stretched out a little bit more, it would change the storm and it would weaken, and you'd lose funnel clouds, you'd lose tornadoes and stuff. Yeah, it's all because of the slope downward, subtle, but it was enough. So I'm just speculating here, but coming out of the hill country and moving into some slightly lower elevation, I doubt it played a role, but I'm just telling you some of my experience of what I know from other areas, and this would be a case-by-case basis and a case study that you'd really have to look into for something like that. This is good. Just a little bit of rain left over. Nothing severe, just some good soaking rain. I tell you what, do we have anything new to go through there, and then we can just let this radar play for the folks that are
absolutely, yeah. I'll switch this over to KSAT Connect just so we can do a couple more photos and videos. But you're right, for us here in San Antonio, I'll tell you, a lot of these videos have stopped coming in because things are calming down.
That's a good thing.
Yes, that is a very good thing there on the east side of Bexar County. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Not an exact location with this, but But you can see that especially there on the sides of the house, once again, in the landscaping, we'll let this play again. You've got the accumulation of those hailstones. Honestly, almost looks like snow a little bit as well. But you also do have some leaves down too because of those hailstones. Looks like this is the same area, just another viewpoint here. Again, just more of that white against the side of the house. Those are the accumulating hailstones. That's been a common theme that we've seen after these storms that kind of push through. Here's another version of that. Let's see if we can get this to load near the downspout. So thank you guys so much for sending that in. Here's another video that we've got quarter-sized hail shirts right off of I-35. So they're on the northeastern side of the county. You can see they're still pinging around a little bit in the landscaping near the brick trim there too. And got a couple leaves down there as well. This looks to be whenever the storm was pulsing down just a little bit. But you can see for areas that, especially on the northeast side, unfortunately, were the ones under whenever that storm was really pulsing up. Just some big hail, golf ball sized hail has been confirmed as well. Here's an example of that, Century Oaks Estates. Here's a quarter, and you can see that those hailstones much bigger than that quarter size. And I'm going to show this video again one more time for folks that might not have been joining us a little bit earlier. Again, that was whenever we were seeing this storm really pulse up in Bulverde out there in the backyard pool. Big splashes with those hailstones, just showing the size of those hailstones. And of course, you've got the wind-driven hail, wind-driven rain. Had some gusty winds as well that we were looking at, with some wind gusts upwards of, I think at SA International, upwards of about 30. And then even at Randolph, a peak wind gust around 40 miles per hour. So that's what we're looking at on KSAT Connect. Thank you guys so much for sending those in, of course, safely, but it really helps us get a good idea of the ground truth, what's actually happening with these thunderstorms. So
I think we're good to wrap it up right now.
So too.
We'll keep this radar playing a little bit, and we'll zoom in for those of you that are still impacted. But unless something else develops or, of course, becomes severe, we'll just let this play out. And those of you Seguin and eastward in Guadalupe County and along I-10 from Seguin to Luling, not far from Buc-ee's out there. There comes the heavy rain and the loud thunderstorm. But again, it's not severe, not damaging.